Okay, so we're going to explain how Lucia Pyroath works. So here I wrote a transcript on how she basically works. So first, let's show you the combo before we explain this step by step. So first, we swap into Lucia, and you notice, right? So we have the orange gauge and sword gauge right over here. So what does that mean? So the orange gauge is the reason why we're able to cast the first form of our ultimate. So the first form is that she absorbs solar power. This is when you hold the ultimate right now, she's going to eat the sun. She's not going to eat, but her sword will like do that shit kind of thing. So based on her kit, every time you swap into Lucia, her orange gauge is always filled. So there are two ways to fill this gauge. First is stationary. If you do nothing, just stand there, it will automatically rise up, but it's not really that slow and it's not really that fast, just normal, but it takes time. So what's the how do we increase our orange gauge artificially, or induce the increase of our orange gauge? We can do that by pressing red orbs. So if you press red orbs, let's say hypothetically that we run out of let's say we did this 1 2 3 4 ultimate, which will reset this orange gauge. If you press red orb, it will automatically gain a lot of orange, and therefore allows you to perform the first form again, which is the solar power. And then we have the sword gauge. So the sword gauge is the number of times she can slash drain, which is the part of the combo later on. We'll get into that. But how do we increase the how do we fill this sword gauge? So basically, this is where the shiny basic attack comes in. So as you can see here, right, since we swapped to Lucia, she technically performed a 3 ping of red, and therefore every 3 ping of red, based on her kit, her basic attack will shine, or what do you call that? There will be an indicator where an inner circle and outer circle shows, and if you tap that, look what happens. As you can see, our sword gauge increased. And then now we're going to move on. So this is the first form of our ultimate, which is she absorbs solar power. And then from here on out, we're going to do our main combo. So basically that's 3 red ping, and then I press basic attack once, and as you can see, our sword gauge is already filled. And then we hold our ultimate, which leads us to the second form. She flies like a jet and slash the dimension. So what happens next is entirely dependent on your level of investment. So what's the once we did this combo, look what's going to happen. So I hold the basic attack and then press the basic attack again. What this does is, in exchange for that damage, she consumes our sword gauge. So this is only applicable. I only did this because I'm SS rank. I mean, my Lucia Pyroath is SS rank. If your Lucia Pyroath is not an SS invest, once you consume this, you have to refill it again, because look what happens. Just look what happens next. So that's 2 red pings, 1 tap, and then the fly. I continue the third form of our ultimate. The sword gauge is filled again. This is only because I'm at SS. So if you're not on SS, what you're going to do is, what's going to happen actually is, this will be empty, or whatever it's left at from our previous combo. So I think it should be around this. So if you're an S rank only, you need to auto attack, because auto attacking will fill this gauge. But in my case, since I'm SS, I don't need to do that anymore. I only need to hold the where's that again? I only need to drain slash where I hold my basic attack, and we will consume the sword gauge. As you can see, it consumes. And then ultimate, which is the fourth form. Now, as you can see, our orange gauge already resetted. So, which is the fourth form ending form, she slams the ground. When she enters her first form, the orange gauge increases. So, okay, I already explained that. So, anyways, the only way to artificially induce this orange gauge is by pressing orbs, or simply by waiting. See, if we just stand there, it increases on its own. So that's basically how Lucia Pyroath works. So to summarize all these things up, what matters the most is you achieve these forms: the first and second, third, and fourth. The second and third form actually does not matter, because once you reach the first form, you can easily reach the third form and skip second, and the fourth form will be the ultimate ending.